are often told as a mom that a mom is supposed to sacrifice for her children. That is a well known fact, especially in the Black community, Caribbean communities, right? You're supposed to put your children's needs first. You are their protector. As a mom, you show up for your kids. And all of these things are expected of you as a mom, but nobody really checks on you to see how you're holding all of that. And so when it comes down to being a Black mom, it's treated like it's supposed to be a bottomless pit that you just hold everything and carry everything and lift everything. And very rarely do moms hear, I see you. I see you showing up. I see you trying, even when, and one of the most common things for mom is to feel like you're failing. Like you're constantly feeling like you're failing as a parent. And on today's episode, Mothering While Broken, what nobody tells Black moms about trauma and parenting. We will be delving deeper into this topic, and we would like to welcome you back to another episode of Unpacking Me, the parts of trauma no one talks about. I am your host, Nikki.
And I am your host, Murnell.
And we thank you for showing up and, sharing your time with us, spending time with us to listen and learn with us. And Mother's Day is upon us, approaching. And for so many, it's a time of joy and happiness because they get to be seen and celebrated and appreciated by their children or children that they didn't give birth to, but they mothered.
Yeah.
And for others, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just too much.
Yeah.
It's just a time of grief for so many mothers. And we want to just make space to honor you moms who are overwhelmed and feeling tired and trying to juggle multiple things all at once while you're still trying to figure out how to heal yourself.
Yeah.
You're parenting and you're trying how to hold unprocessed trauma.
Yes. And so I think it is so important for us to understand that as mothers, we will not have all the answers, but we will do our best. And if we're doing our best and we're growing and constantly learning, we can get through. And with that, I want to say that we Black mothers, Caribbean mothers, mothers of who are from marginalized communities, we learn to be superheroes very early.
Yep,
Very early.
That cape.
And the biggest thing that I think that we do is we tell ourselves that we're trying to give our child everything we never had.
Oh,
don't do that.
oh,
Don't do that.
oof, I
Don't
felt
do
that deep.
Don't do that.
Murnell, I'm making you want to cry. It's true though.
You
Oh,
know who taught me this lesson? Believe it or not,
uh-huh.
I'm a big I like to listen to biographies and
Yes.
read and listen to like famous people, not famous, but like people who have had impact in the world.
Yeah.
Talk. And Bruce Lee. I was listening to a speech by Bruce Lee. They were doing an interview, and I love interviews. And Bruce Lee said something so profound that Bruce Lee changed my entire perspective on parenting. Bruce Lee said, I don't understand why everybody keeps trying to give their children what they never had.
Wow.
He said, teach your children what you never learned. I know.
Okay.
He said, I don't try to give my son what I never had. I try to teach my son what I never learned.
Wow.
And that changed my
That is transformative
perspective of
Yeah.
parenting.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to share that with us mothers as we're struggling.
Yeah.
If we are teaching our children the things we wish we learned, we can make their life so much easier.
If
Healthier.
yes.
But if we don't, and we're trying to give them what we never had, this burden of mothering gets so much heavier.
Yes. And I want to drop in their context because
Mm-hmm.
context
Context
is always
matters.
important.
Mm-hmm.
This is not every mother's reality,
No.
right? Some mothers are not holding trauma that didn't get processed.
Right.
I'm not saying um, every mothers are out there who've never that people don't experience trauma. What I'm saying is some mothers have gone out and they've done the work and they're still doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about those who you're trying your best to parent, but in the last episode I talked about in one of our episodes we talked about if you don't if you don't face your demons they will raise your children, right? I'm talking about instances like that
Yes. Yes.
wherein you are trying to take care of your children but things that have happened to you and shaped how you see the world and who you are and your identity is hindering your ability to parent in a healthy
In a
way.
healthy way.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. And so when I said context, I mean, let's talk about here in the US because that's where we live,
Yeah.
for instance, the Caribbean and the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, systems that are in place that are meant to help mothers. I have worked with single mothers, Black
Ooh.
mothers, single parents, not even just Black mothers, but especially Black mothers, wherein
Mm-hmm.
they're making 50 something thousand a year
Mm-hmm.
and childcare is too expensive and they
Mm-hmm.
have to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
And when they apply for things, public assistance
They
like
don't
food
get it.
stamps or whatnot, because the child's father has abandoned them, right? When they apply for it, they get told you make too much
Too much
money.
money.
And
Make it make sense.
there's this helplessness.
Yeah.
There's this helplessness and hopelessness. Like I'm trying to make ends meet. And everywhere I turn, I feel like I'm hitting a roadblock.
Mm-hmm.
And then in some instances, because you're so overwhelmed and irritated, because we know that a lot of the systems that are set up, social services systems, they are also reinforcing of racialized structure, racial bias, racial
Structure.
discrimination.
Yeah.
They're oppressive. Because of that, people are holding racialized stress that's still not processed, that they don't even know is
Mm-hmm.
impacting them, especially if you're an immigrant, right?
Exactly.
And you're not making as much as some of your counterparts, especially if they're not Black.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a child with the father who has abandoned them, so you're alone and you can't turn to your mother or your father because they have their own trials and tribulations to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the grandmas nowadays are young, grandmas nowadays are working.
It's crazy.
Back then grandma stayed at home and grandpa was out working. It was a
It
different
was a
time
different
frame.
era.
So the expectation that interdependence should flourish, where I know I have support to help me, and in some instances that is the case because I had great support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every mother doesn't have that.
And I have limited support.
Right. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that then leads to another level of anxiety and depression
It
and
does.
helplessness and frustration. So if you're someone who already is carrying around a childhood wound or a relationship wound from being abandoned by the person who you thought was going to parent the child with you, and it's not always a man, right? Because
It's
sometimes we
sometimes
have
the
same sex, or
lady.
mama and mom having a
Right.
child, dad and
Mm-hmm.
dad having a child, right? But in instances wherein the person that you thought was going to be there to co-parent and partner with you has abandoned you and left you alone in this, the level of distress that that stirs up, it's just
It's
heartbreaking.
hard, yeah.
So I want to name context and how it also plays a role in how you respond and how you're showing up. We have this well-known Dr. Arlene Geronimus who talks about how racial stress, so racism at work, how it impacts people's ability to parent their children and also to cope. You don't have time to cope.
I don't have time to cope. You gotta go
What?
parent your child.
Listen, I don't. Most often, what I hear is, I don't. I'm coming to therapy because I don't want to jack up my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have time to sit down and breathe. I don't have time to sit down and tap. I have to make sure they have food, the lights stay on. It is overwhelming, and
Mm-hmm.
the system just seems to not be supportive of the needs of a mother who is trying her best to survive while she's parenting.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this transgenerational trauma
Oh,
that takes
yeah,
place as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
where unprocessed maternal trauma goes to the children. It communicates through to the children.
So can you talk about that? What do you mean when you say transgenerational?
What I mean is, we can have your own mother wound that was never dealt with, and then you have a child
Mm,
not realizing that mother wound exists because there's so much that comes with
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and we're trying to parent a child, and we're
mm,
passing on that wound
yeah,
to our child
yeah.
and more.
Because we don't know how to regulate.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So not only are we giving them the wound that we came in with as
We're
their mothers, we're
creating.
creating a new in their life.
Gosh.
And I've had to do some work where, when I've had clients realize that, they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And that was even
yeah.
myself starting off as a new mom. One of my biggest thing when I started to realize how deep my mother wound was,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
I got mommy issues.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Mm-hmm.
tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest thing when I started to realize, and that was even before I had children,
Mm-hmm.
I rushed to therapy and I said
Mm-hmm.
no, because I always knew I planned on having children,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not want to do that. I did
Mm-hmm.
to bring in fresh wound to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bring in my old wound and then create new wounds in them as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by transgenerational trauma transmission.
Yeah.
And then it could also go even further back within our cultural experience, especially as Black women,
Yeah.
especially as Caribbean women.
Mm-hmm.
We come from a slave culture as well, so we're also looking at that transgenerational trauma being
Yeah.
passed down
Yep.
from generation to
There was
generation.
no time to
To
heal after
heal.
slavery ended. You're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right.
Especially towards it was hard on a lot of women.
It's still hard on a lot of
So,
women. You know, and as I mentioned before, that context matters. And continuing on what you said, when you look at the earning gaps between
mm,
women and men, um,
it's huge.
and yeah, the rates of single parenting,
It's huge.
whew, and Black mental health,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes on to moms, maternal mental health
Yeah,
needs, it's not being met.
at all.
It's not being met appropriately. It's not being met adequately oftentimes in some communities. Like I think of here in Broward County, one city I know about is Deerfield Beach.
Mm.
The rates in Deerfield Beach, and I think Hollywood is the next one. It's alarming, alarming, the distress around black maternal mental health
Mm-hmm.
and moms dying or moms coming out with postpartum depression and not having their needs met. It is very disturbing. And that then leads into other things like children getting abused
Mm-hmm.
because mom just lost her, just snapped.
Just, and coming from the, and I can speak a lot on this because I'm still in the experience.
Yes.
A lot of it is, there's this cultural aspect as well to it,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm coming from the Haitian community.
Mm-hmm.
When I gave birth, and
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed at how little understanding even my own mother had
Oh yeah.
about maternal mental health and
Yes.
the
That
postpartum
wasn't a thing.
experience.
It wasn't a thing for them.
She literally, and everybody around me, I felt like they thought I was just gonna come out, give birth to this child, and be this
Because
whole human
because
again.
that's what they had to do.
Exactly. And so if I wasn't the type of person that I was in the profession that I'm
Yeah.
in, and having you in my ear, and as well as my own therapist, I
Yeah.
was still in therapy
Mm-hmm.
every, like clockwork, every week.
Mm-hmm.
I came out the
Mm-hmm.
hospital one week, the next week I was back in therapy.
Yep.
I told my therapist, you cannot leave me. You got to get me through this
Yes.
first 3 months.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was so important for me to have that, so I can attest to the lack of understanding of maternal mental health.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have it,
Ha ha
I
ha
would,
ha.
I
I
could
would have
see
to
how
come.
the
I
abuse.
would have to come get. I would have to come get the baby,
You would have to
and
come
I
get
would be
them.
okay with that. And a lot of times, what people judge moms for as being bad parenting
Mm-hmm.
is really a trauma
It's a
response.
trauma response.
Always have, especially if there's some sexual trauma in the mom's history
Let me tell
or
you.
physical trauma,
Yeah.
the hypervigilance, right? Hypervigilance, people think you're just so overprotective.
I
You're so overprotective, not realizing that my overprotection is me scanning for dangers that I see and can't see, and trying to be prepared for both. And now I'm exhausted because my brain is always scanning for this.
Let me tell you, for the longest time, I thought I was crazy.
I
I
understand.
walk around with in my and he's 4 months now, but the first 3 months of his life, I walked around with him covered. Like
Yes.
I had bought it
Oh, I
covered
know. I understand.
over, and I put it over because I was like, I don't want anybody to
Anything.
see.
Yes.
I don't want anyone. I was so protective
I
because
understand.
it is one of those things that as a mother you're not prepared for.
Yes.
I think we're not
No one can
prepared
truly prepare you
for
but the
the experience.
experience. Yeah.
And so it does that trauma, if you don't have adequate support,
Yes.
really
Yes.
bleeds into how you raise your child.
Yes. And numbing,
Oh, you
that
know,
numbing. And that numbing is really your body and your brain's way of saying you are so overwhelmed
yes.
that you're functioning on reserves. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all feelings. Your endorphins are going to, your
Mhm.
hormones, the endorphins, I'm going to go ahead and amp it up to get you through this. And then people start thinking you're cold.
I know.
It's not coldness, it's my body is saying that I'm so overwhelmed that it needs to turn off what I feel. My endorphins are up to help me survive. And then things are constantly triggering you. The baby cries, it triggers you.
Triggers you.
People coming to tell you, but when I was a mother,
Like I
that's
don't care
triggering you,
anymore.
right? So things are triggering you, and trying to parent a child when you yourself have complex PTSD,
It's difficult.
it's difficult because your baby can become your greatest trigger. It
Yeah.
triggers you realizing what you missed out on. It triggers you feeling helpless, especially if you're someone who's associated and you are in an adult body, but you really are a teenager mentally.
Oh my goodness, mothers, are you okay?
So, so it's a lot. It's just a
And
lot.
I want a name that we are oftentimes not screened
No,
for postpartum
no,
depression
no, no.
and
Not even when you're pregnant.
pregnant.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think doctors tried
Or
their
you're
best,
postpartum. Yeah,
but I know with my last pregnancy, I definitely had prepartum depression. Like
yeah.
it's called
Perinatal.
perinatal depression,
Yeah,
and it was so bad.
yeah.
No one
No
screened
one
me for
screened you.
it.
Right,
It
right.
wasn't until I couldn't anymore that I finally, it wasn't until I met with my therapist
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
that she explained it to me. And I was
Yes.
like, oh my goodness, this
Yes.
is exactly what was happening to
Yes.
me.
Yes. Yes.
And so we need, and because we're not screened for it,
Yeah.
our adequate treatment isn't provided for us.
So Myrna, as a new mom, because
Mm.
if I share perspective, I'm sharing from 23 years ago. I can, but
It's true.
so as a new mom, what would you say is helpful as you're navigating motherhood? What would be helpful for moms to know as they try to take care of themselves if they're recovering from trauma?
Hmm.
What are some practical tools, very simple things that you think they can do?
The first thing I did was, because I understand my trauma, I also have PTSD. I understand my trauma enough that I was able to say to myself, I have to cut off social media.
That, yes, that
I
comparison
have
is
to
the
cut off.
devil.
Yes. Because I got rid of social media during my pregnancy and during my postpartum, I didn't have to compare my, I have nothing to compare it
Yes,
to.
yes, yes,
The
yes.
only time I would seek social media was for assistance.
Mm.
If I needed to learn something like about the baby,
YouTube.
I would go on YouTube.
Yes,
But other than that,
yes,
that dramatically helped my
yes,
mindset.
yes,
And I say this for our mom in this generation.
yes, yes, yes.
It is so helpful to get rid of social media.
Yeah, there was no social media. I mean, there was,
In
but it
this
was limited.
generation.
It was limited. For me, it was Google,
Yeah,
Yahoo. It
Yahoo.
was Yahoo.
Oh my God, not
Or,
SG.
what was it called? AOL,
Not the AOL.
the dial up.
The broadband. But that was very helpful. The second thing, that if possible, if you can, if your insurance allows it as
Yes,
well, seek, go ahead and go to therapy.
yes,
Therapy, I
yes.
told my therapist the other day, thank you so much for being one of my biggest supporter in this postpartum journey. I don't know how well mentally
Yeah.
I would have been able to cope,
Mm-hmm.
especially with PTSD. So many triggers came up for me.
Mm-hmm.
if I wasn't consistently, she let me sit in therapy with my baby as I was nursing.
Yes.
She let me
Yes.
nurse my baby
Yes.
while I'm sitting in therapy with her. Of course, we did
Yes.
ours online, but she let me sit right there. She let me bring in this
The
baby.
support.
She supported
Support.
me, and it was such a needed help.
Mhm.
So, if possible, if your insurance allow it, go ahead and get
You
therapy.
know, I want to name something because a lot of BIPOC people, especially Black people, are so fearful. Get you some short-term disability.
Please get you some short term
Get you some
disability.
MetLife or
Aflac,
Aflac.
Aflac, because of the way I work, Aflac was my best friend. I am a walking advertisement board for Aflac.
Get some
That was very
short-term
helpful. It
disability.
took what it did was it took off the stress of finances.
Yes.
It
Yes.
really took the stress of finances,
Yes.
especially if your job only allows you a short period of time.
Yes.
Aflac will support you for a longer period of
Yes.
time. So get
Yeah.
you some short-term disability.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last thing I would encourage you guys to get is a trusted, it doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be somebody, another mother who you
Yes.
like the way she raised her children.
Mentor.
You like
Yes.
the way that her children come out. You paid attention to that kind of stuff. Talk to her and
Yes.
see if she will be a mentor to you.
Yes.
I have two. I have Nikki and I have somebody else who I really love. And you guys, you have been such an important support because when I don't know how to mother, and that will come up often.
It
When
it
I
will.
mean often,
It
I'm
will.
like, my baby did this. Is this normal?
Yes.
When I did not know how to mother, I would run to my mentors, and
Yes.
my mentors would give me advice. And every single time I was given an advice and I put it into practice, which is every single time, it has worked. So
Yeah.
I would encourage those four
Yeah.
things.
That's amazing.
Amazing. They're without a doubt one of the most helpful four things advice I could give to any new mother.
The best gift you can give to your child as a mother is to take care of you first.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was in therapy.
I wish I would have known that 20 something years ago
Mm-hmm.
because I remember my grandmother actually looking at me and saying, "Hey, you need to take care of yourself." I was so preoccupied with making sure I was pumping,
Mm-hmm.
breastfeeding, the
And that
baby
takes
was
a lot.
clean, washing the baby's clothes. My husband was doing his part too, but it was so much to do
That takes
all the
so
time.
much.
And then sleep. Sleep I used to wonder how people abuse their children. I used to wonder.
Yeah.
And when you're not getting sleep and you hear that baby crying, the level of overwhelm and agitation that comes up,
It's so
if
much.
you don't have a level of self-control,
Mm-hmm.
I can see how people snap because if you can't regulate yourself, you will lose your
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say the best gift you can give to your child is to take care of your mental health needs. Get a journal, be raw and real in the journal, write out what you feel. When, take care of you. If you have people that you trust that are friends who offer to help,
Let
cook.
them
Let
help
them cook
you.
and bring the food over.
Let them help you.
Let them come. You want me to do anything? Yes, come
Yeah,
wash
come
for
clean
me.
the clothes.
Come wash. Bring me dinner,
Yes.
you know?
I think another thing that was very helpful is that I wanna say is it's okay to just sit on the couch.
Just be.
Let it pile up.
Yeah.
Let the dishes pile up.
Yes.
Let the
Yes.
clothes pile.
Yes.
Let it pile up.
Yes.
It will be
It will
okay.
get like
It will
clean.
get done.
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
get done.
Yeah. And we just appreciate the fact that you spent time with us and moms, be gentle with yourselves, be
Yes.
kind with yourselves. You don't have to have all the answers like Murnell says. Take it from me, you can't control anything anyways, but
At
how
all.
you take care of you,
Hmm.
right? So we hope that you continue to follow us, share this podcast with other moms that you think could benefit. Go on to our website, dare2emerge.com, the number two, emerge.com. And we have events from time to time that we'd love for you to be a part of. Follow us on Instagram, Emergent Counseling LLC. You have this podcast as a resource, our YouTube channel. And whatever you
Yeah.
do, what should they do right now?
Be kind to your, well, first and foremost, happy Mother's Day, y'all.
Yes, 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 yes.
And be kind to yourself because moms, you deserve it.